So I stopped in at the Goodwill the other day, and I may have brought home a few goodies. I'm trying this new flavor. It's like green tea matcha grapefruit. It's not bad. I don't think it's my favorite. It's got a citrusy flavor to it. I'm Valerie Geary. I'm an author and a reader, and you've stumbled into my book nook where I come to talk about books with anyone and everyone who wants to listen. I'm glad you're here. Let's get to the books. The whole reason I went into the Goodwill was that I was looking for books for someone else, for a friend who is going through a rough time right now and needed a distraction. And so I was kind of looking for like lighter books, happier books, books that would be kind of page turnery and just like escapism. And then, of course, as inevitably happens, I also found some books for myself. And some of them I have already read, but I wanted to own copies. So I'm going to quickly go through my stack and tell you what I bought. These three are books that I have already read. One of them I think would be great for my friend, and the other two are books that I wanted to own. The Rosie Project by Graham Simpson. This book is about a man who is determined to find his perfect wife, and he's a genetics professor, a very smart man. He has some social quirks. He may be on the autism spectrum, and he comes up with this test, like this quiz to find the perfect woman. And of course, the woman that he finds is obviously less than perfect. This is a book that I read a while ago. It was fun, it was playful, it was escapist. I did enjoy the characters. This book wasn't perfect for me, but I do think it would be a great, uplifting, heartwarming book for someone who's going through a rough time. I couldn't resist picking up this copy of The River by Peter Heller. I originally checked this book out from the library when it first came out and just fell in love with the narrative structure of this book, with the atmospheric way that Peter Heller writes about nature, with the just building dread. So this book is basically two friends are taking a river trip in Alaska, I think. It's a river in Canada. These two best friends from college, they just want to get away, have this nature adventure. And one night they hear a woman and two men arguing. And then the next time they see the two men, the woman isn't with them. And so they are thinking something really weird and suspicious has happened. And they're not feeling very good about these two men who are now kind of following them around the river. In addition, as you can tell from this beautiful cover, there's a wildfire nearby where they are paddling. So that adds an extra layer of tension. This book was great. I want to read it again, and so I grabbed this copy to keep on my shelves. The Paragon Hotel by Lindsay Fay is one that I discovered a couple of years ago, and I have since, I think gifted my copy, or I never owned a copy. I think I originally had one. I don't know what happened. I don't know. It's not on my shelf. So when I saw this, I was like, oh, I have to get this book. I loved this book. I loved the style of it. I love the story. I love the characters. It's a book that I would love to have on my shelf in case I want to lend it out, or if I ever get the mood to read it again. This was a Western kick-ass, whip-cracking, boot-stomping style of book. It's set in the Prohibition era in Portland, Oregon. This young woman who is running from the New York Mafia escapes to Portland. She has a bullet wound. A black Pullman operator takes care of her as she's on the train and then gives her refuge at this all-black hotel in Portland, which historically Oregon has been known for racism and for having a very active Ku Klux Klan. And so that is what some of the story is about, that kind of racism and violence during the Prohibition era. There were some other elements in this book that I just loved. I was completely absorbed by this story, and I'm looking forward to revisiting it again someday. These three were books that I had not yet read, but was familiar with for one reason or another, and just needed to bring them home. First is How the Light Gets In, a book in the Chief Inspector Gamache series by Louise Penny, and I don't know which number this is. It seems to be fairly late in the series, so I'm not sure when I will get around to reading it. But Louise Penny is an author that I'm trying to collect her backlist so that I can kind of just sit and read through them all. And I have a couple already on my shelf, and so this one is just getting added to that pile. This one I think is set around Christmas time, so I'm assuming murder or a disappearance, some kind of mystery is going to be solved in this book. I do love the colors on this one. So that's going on my Louise Penny shelf to be read at a point in the future when I have collected all of the books before this one. I want to read them in order. I don't think you have to, but it's just something I feel the need to do. I grabbed The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. I'm a little bit on the fence about Ruth Ware's books. Sometimes I've enjoyed them, sometimes not so much. I haven't read this one, but I do think it could be a fun one for my friend who's not feeling very great. I think it could be a good escape fiction. I think this is a locked, isolated mystery. These people are on a boat, a luxury cruise ship in the North Sea, but then maybe a woman gets thrown overboard, or maybe it didn't happen because all of the crew members and all the passengers are accounted for. So maybe we have a little bit of unreliable narrator here. So I know that Ruth Ware's thrillers are the kind that kind of sweep you up and get you captivated in the story, and so I'm hoping, I don't know, I haven't read it. You guys tell me, is this one that I should give to my friend who's kind of going through a rough time? Do you think this would be a good escapist book for them? Leave a tree emoji in the comments if you think this is a good one to give to my friend who's not feeling well. And finally, I picked up A Gentleman in Moscow by Mar Tolles. This book was a very popular book when it first came out, and I have had several people recommend this book to me. A woman I volunteered with at the library bookstore was raving about this with her book club, and then recently I was talking to someone and they were recommending this book to me, but I cannot for the life of me remember who I was talking about this book with. So if you're watching this and you know that we talked about this book, please get in contact with me. I think this is about a man, a count in Russia, who has his circumstances have changed. He used to be very popular and rich, and now he's just like kind of living in an attic while a lot of stuff is unfolding outside his window in Moscow, and a young woman is set into his path and he has to protect her. I think that's what the blurb indicates. Yeah, I've heard a lot of really good things about this. I think a lot of people really love this one. It looked like it needed a new home, so here it is on my shelf. There's a bookmark in here. Oh, hold that thought. It's just the book of the month bookmark, but I will take a free bookmark. Thank you to whoever dropped this book off at the Goodwill for me. Okay, so this video is gonna be short and sweet, just chatting a little bit about the books that I recently picked up at Goodwill. I did only find 2 for my friend, so if you have any other ideas for like good escapist, feel-good, heartwarming fiction to give to someone who is not feeling very well, drop the title in the comments so I can go look for those books. Thanks for watching, stay cozy, I'll see you next time.